everyone, I am Dr. Vishal Tiwari, attending consultant in Max Super Specialty Hospital, Vaishali. In trauma series today, I am covering lower limb trauma. I will cover the general consideration of the lower limb trauma. Then I will go to specify for the each bone fractures and management of their own. Uh, what is the limb threatening injury? It can be caused by motor vehicle accident, occupational injury, domestic accident, and it can be classified as open injury and closed injury. It is an emergency situation and need accurate diagnosis and prompt treatment to save the limb of the patient. Fracture can be classified into two types, open fracture and closed fracture. Vascular injury is the part of trauma and there can be a complication of compartment syndrome. Coming to the fracture, by definition, a structural break in continuity, whether of a bone, an epiphyseal plate, or a cartilaginous joint surface. Fracture also means soft tissue injury. This is picture of open fracture and the bone, both bone fracture of tibia and fibula. The causative force may be direct injury or indirect injury. History-wise, we have to ask about the pain, deformity, time of injury, mechanism of injury like fall, direct blow, road accident, or gunshot wound. Fracture diagnosis, we have to do always a primary survey, ABC. Then we have to look for the general condition of the patient. And then we have to go for the local condition like look, feel, and movement of the particular joint or bone. Our main principle is do not harm further to the patient. By look, we have to see for the local swelling, deformity like angulation, rotation, discrepancy, discoloration of skin, open wound. For wound, we have to look for the size, margin, depth, and contamination. Coming to the field, we have to look for the sharply localized tenderness, aggravating of pain and muscle spasm, crepitation, neurovascular condition is very important. And we have to look and feel for other injuries also. Move, it is not a necessary to, if the deformity is obvious, we have to look for the abnormal movement and usually ROM limited due to pain. General consideration in the diagnostic imaging, we have to immobilize the limb before being subjected to imaging modality. Plain X-ray, CT scan, MRI is to look for the injuries of the bone and soft tissue. Angiography is for the vascular injury. In the X-ray, we follow the rules of two. We have to cover the two joint. We have to take the two projection. Two extremities, it is basically very important in the pediatric patient to compare the age of bone of the both extremities. And two density, we have to able to differ hard and soft tissue injuries. CT scan and MRI can provide useful additional data, especially for pelvis and spinal injury. Angiography is performed if vascular injury is suspected. Doppler duplex sonography is also for the vascular injuries. Here is a CT of the hip bone. Complication of musculoskeletal injuries. It is classified as initial complication, early complication, and late complication. In each, there is local and remote complication. Coming to the initial complication, we have to look for the local complication like skin injuries, vascular injuries, the neurological injuries of the brain, spinal cord, peripheral nerve, muscular injury, and visceral injuries. In the remote complication, we have to look for the multiple injuries and hemorrhagic shock. Early complication, there is local complication like skin necrosis, gangrene, compartment syndrome, joint complication like septic arthritis, and bony complication like osteomyelitis or avascular necrosis, AVN. In remote complication, usually we see the fat embolism, pulmonary embolism, and there is rare cases of tetanus. In the late complication, there can be local complication of the joint like stiffness, degenerative arthritis. For the bone, we have to look for the abnormal fracture healing, growth disturbance, chronic osteomyelitis, muscular myositis ossification, late rupture of tendon, and in neurological, there can be tardy nerve palsy. In remote complication, we have to look for the accident neurosis. There is some incident of the renal calculi is also present. Coming to the open fracture, what is open fracture? An open fracture indicates a communication between the fracture and the external environment. There is a classification, Gastillo and Anderson classification, which classify open wound in three types. Type 1 is the clean wound less than 1 centimeter in diameter with simple fracture pattern and no skin trussing. In type 2, a laceration wound is between 1 centimeter and 10 centimeter without significant soft tissue trussing. The wound bed may appear moderately contaminated. Type 3, there is an open segmental fracture or a single fracture with extensive soft tissue injury more than 10 centimeter. Type 3 is classified in 3A, 3B, and 3C. In 3A, there is adequate soft tissue coverage of the fracture despite high energy trauma or extensive laceration of skin flaps. Type 3B, there is inadequate soft tissue coverage with periosteal stripping. And type 3C, any open fracture that is associated with vascular injury that require repair. We have to look for the vascular injury. It is more common in the gunshot injury, stab wound, blunt trauma, and iatrogenic. Presentation of vascular injuries. First, we have to look for the hemorrhage control, followed by appropriate diagnostic workup. Dislocation and displaced or angulation fracture realign immediately if vascularity is compromised. Evaluation for vascular injury. We have to look for the physical examination. Then we can use some scan like Doppler flow meter, duplex ultrasound, arteriogram. Local wound exploration should not be done if in an uncontrolled setting, and we have to close coordination with the general or vascular surgeon. In the physical examination, we look for the hard signs and soft signs. Hard signs, there is absent or diminished distal pulses, active hemorrhage, large expanding or pulsatile hematoma, bruit or thrill, distal ischemic pain, pallor, paralysis, paresthesia, and coolness. In the soft sign, there is a small stable hematoma, injury to anatomically related nerve, unexplained hypotension, history of hemorrhage no longer present, and proximity of injury to major vessel. In Doppler examination, it is a non-invasive adjunct to physical examination, useful as modality for determining the ABI. Arteriography is the gold standard for evaluation of peripheral vascular injury. Formal arteriogram done in radiology may cause critical delays in diagnosis or intervention, so we use single-shot arteriograms in ER. Indication of arteriography are the multiple potential sites of injuries, like in shotgun injuries, missile track parallel vessel over long distance, blunt trauma with signs of vascular trauma, chronic vascular disease, extensive bone or soft tissue injury, thoracic outlet wounds, evaluation of equivocal result from non-invasive tests. ABI is equal or less than 9. Compartment syndrome, by definition, it is the elevated tissue pressure within a closed facial space. There is reduced in tissue perfusion. It can cause the cell death. Pathogenesis is too much inflow, like edema or hemorrhage, or decrease outflow, venous obstruction, tight dressing, and cast. There is tissue survival by the hours, like in muscles, 3 to 4 hours, there is reversible changes. 6 hours, there is variable damage. And after 8 hours, there is irreversible changes. While in nerve, loose nerve conduction happens in first 2 hours, neuropraxia in 4 hours, and irreversible changes in 8 hours. Etiology of compartment syndrome is because of fracture, blunt trauma, tight cast and dressing, closure of facial defects, burns, exertional state, IV and arterial line, and arterial injury. Diagnosis: there is pain out of proportion, palpable, tense compartment, pain with passive stretch, paresthesia, hyposthesia, paralysis, pulselessness, and pallor. Emergent treatment: we have to remove the cast and dressing. We have to place the injured area at the level of heart. We do not elevate the injured area. Bedside procedure, and there is medical treatment. Surgical treatment: we have to do fasciotomy. Fracture care, rigid stabilization we have to do with external fixation and iron nailing. Lower extremity trauma. Lower extremities trauma, we will cover hip fracture, femur fracture, patella fracture, knee dislocation, tibial fracture, and ankle fractures. In hip fracture, there is hip dislocation, femoral head fracture, femoral neck fracture, intertrochanteric fracture, and subtrochanteric fracture. At-risk population is elderly, basically because of poor balance and vision, osteoporosis, inactivity, medication, and malnutrition. Young, there is high energy trauma. Hip dislocation, it is due to significant trauma, usually motor vehicle accident. In posterior dislocation, there is hip flexion, internal rotation, and adduction. In anterior dislocation, there is extreme external rotation, abduction, and flexion. Emergent treatment is closed reduction. Dislocated hip is an emergency. Our goal is to reduce risk of which is degenerative joint disease. It allows restoration of flow through occluded or compressed vessel. Literature support decreased AVN with earlier reduction, requires proper anesthesia, requires steam. We have to use more than 1%. In closed reduction, we use the general anesthesia with muscle relaxation facilitates reduction, but it is not necessary. Conscious sedation is also acceptable. Attempts at reduction with inadequate analgesia sedation will cause unnecessary pain, cause muscle spasm, and make subsequent attempts at reduction more difficult. Hip dislocation, there is some maneuver like for the closed reduction. Alice maneuver, we have to, there is one assistant who stabilizes the pelvis with pressure on SS. Surgeon stands on stretcher and gently flexes hip to 90 degree, applies progressively, increasing traction to the extremities with gentle adduction and internal rotation. Reduction can often be seen and felt. Hip dislocation. After Alice maneuver, we have to check for the stability of hip to 90 degree flexion. We have to repeat AP view of pelvis and Judet views of pelvis if acetabulum fracture is there. CT scan with thin cuts through acetabulum. We have to rule out any bony fragment within hip joint. It is an indication for emergent open reduction to remove incarcerated fragment to bone. Following closed reduction, there is we don't have to do flexion more than 60 degree. This is the hip precaution. Early mobilization with physiotherapy and occupational therapy. TTWB is toe touch weight bearing for 4 to 6 weeks and MRI after 3 months. It is because of risk of AVN. Concurrent with hip coming to the femoral head fracture, it is concurrent with hip dislocation due to shear injuries. There is a Pipkin classification for femoral head fracture. There is four classes. Class 1 is fracture inferior to fovea. Class 2 is fracture superior to fovea. 3 is femoral head plus acetabulum fracture. 4 is femoral head plus femoral neck fracture. Treatment option in type 1, we do non-operative, non-displaced if there is displacement present, we have to go for the ORIF. In type 2, treatment choice is ORIF. In type 3, ORIF of both fracture, and type 4, ORIF versus hemiarthroplasty. Coming to femoral neck fracture, there is Garden classification. There is 4 class like valgus. Class 1 is valgus impacted. Class 2 is non-displaced. 3 is complete, partially displaced, and 4 is complete, fully displaced. Bifunctional class 1 and 2 is comes under the stable, and 3, 4 comes in under unstable. Treatment options are non-operative. There is very limited role of non-operative modality in femoral neck fracture. Activity modification and skeletal traction. Operative, there is 3 modality like ORIF, hemiarthroplasty, and total hip replacement. These are the X-rays after the procedure. In young patient, we used to do ORIF if there is injury is less than 6 hours. In elderly patient, ORIF possible only it causes higher risk of AVN non-union and failure of fixation. Hemiarthroplasty and total hip replacement is the other modality. Intertrochanteric hip fracture. There is extracapsular femoral neck fracture and inferior border of the lesser trochanter. In intertrochanteric femur fracture, physical findings are shortened posture. We have to obtain X-ray of AP pelvis and cross table lateral. Classification on the basis of fracture of parts like head, neck, greater trochanter, left trochanter, lesser trochanter, and shaft. In stable fracture, it resists medial and compressive loads after fixation, and in unstable fracture, collapses into varus or shaft, medialized despite anatomic reduction with fixation. This is the stable fracture, unstable fracture, and reverse obliquity. Treatment option in stable, we have to use dynamic hip screw, and in unstable or reverse, IM recon nail. Subtrochanteric femur fracture classification is based on the location, located from lesser trochanter to 5 cm distal into shaft, and intact piriform fossa. Treatment modality are IM nailing, cephalomedular IM nail, and ORIF. Femoral shaft fracture, there are 4 types. Type 0 is no comminution. Type 1 is insignificant butterfly fragment with transverse or short oblique fracture. Type 2 is large butterfly of less than 50% of the bony width, more than 50% of cortex intact. Type 3 is large butterfly leaving less than 50% of the cortex in contact. Type 4 is segmental comminution. Femoral shaft fracture treatment option are IM nail with locking screw, ORIF with plate screw construct, external fixation, consider traction if prolonged delay to surgery. Distal femur fractures, there is distal metaphyseal fracture. We have to look for the intra-articular involvement. Plain films and CT are the modality of diagnosis. Treatment are retrograde IM nailing, or if open versus MIPO, which is minimal invasive plate osteosynthesis. Above depends on fracture type, bone quality, and fracture location. Knee dislocation, this is high association of injury. Ligamentous injury, we have to look for ACL, PCL, posterior lateral corner, LCL, MCL. In muscular injury, we have to look for intimal tear versus disruption. We have to obtain ABI. If it is positive, we have to go for the arteriogram. Vascular surgery, consult with repair within 8 hours. Peroneal nerve injury is more common than tibial nerve injury in knee dislocation. Coming to patella fracture, history-wise, it is more associated in motor vehicle accident and fall onto knee, eccentric loading. In physical examination, we have to look for the ability to perform straight leg raise against gravity, which means extension mechanism is still intact. Pain, swelling, contusion, laceration, and or abrasion at the site of injury, and palpable defect. Patella fracture, we have to take the radiographs of AP view, lateral view, and sunrise view. Treatment is, or if external mechanism is incompetent, non-operative treatment with brace if external mechanism remains intact. Tibial fracture, we have to see for the proximal tibial fractures or tibial plateau, tibial shaft fracture and distal tibial fracture. Tibial plateau fracture is most common in the motor vehicle accident, fall from height and sporting injuries. Mechanism and energy of injury plays a major role in determining orthopedic care. Examine soft tissue neurologic examination, peroneal vascular examination, especially with medial plateau injury. We have to look for the compartment syndrome. We have to check for the knee ligament instability. In X-rays, we have to look for the AP lateral view plus minus traction film we can take, and CT scan always oftenly you do after X fix if appropriate. There is a classification, Skarsgård classification, where is 6 type. First 3 type is associated with lower injury, and type 4, 5, 6 is associated with higher energy injury. Treatment is spanning external fixator may be appropriate for temporary stabilization and to allow for resolution of soft tissue injuries. Definitive, or if for patient with varus and valgus is in stability, or if there is more than 5 mm articular step off. Non-operative procedure is done in non-displaced stable fracture or patient with poor surgical risk. Tibial shaft fracture injuries are more associated with the lower energy and torsion type of injury. It is more common with higher energy direct force like car bumpers. Open fracture of the tibia are more common than in any other long bone. Here is a picture of the tibial open fracture, tibial shaft fracture. Our priority is ABCD to look for the associated injury, to give TT dose, antibiotic, and to do fixation. Here is one classification, Joyner and Bruce classification. There is 3 type A, B, and C. A is simple, B is butterfly fracture, and C is comminuted. In open injury, we have to look for the Castillo and Anderson classification. I already explained previously. For the soft tissue injury, there is certain classification which classify injury in 4 grade. Grade 0 is negligible soft tissue injury. Grade 1 is superficial abrasion or contusion. Grade 2, deep contusion from direct trauma. Grade 3 is extensive contusion and crush injury with possible severe muscle injury. Management of open fracture in ER, we have to initially to do initial evaluation, wound covered with sterile dressing and leg splinting, TT prophylaxis and appropriate antibiotic. In operative procedure, thorough IND undertaken within 6 hours with serial debridements as warranted, followed by definitive soft tissue cover. Definitive soft tissue cover, proximal third tibial fracture can be covered with gastrocnemius rotation flap. Middle third tibia fracture can be covered with soleus rotation flap. Distal third fracture usually require free flap for coverage. Treatment options are IM nailing or if with plates, external fixation, cast or cast press. Advantage of IM nailing is lower non-union rate, a smaller incision, earlier weight bearing and function, single surgery. IM nailing of distal and proximal fracture can be done but requires additional planning, special nails and advanced technique. Coming to tibial pylon fracture, fractures involve distal tibia metaphysis and into the ankle joint. Soft tissue management is the key. Often occurs from fall from height and high energy injuries in motor vehicle accident. Excellent results are rare Our norm outcome is fair to good. Multiple potential complications are there. Initial evaluation, we have to take plain films and CT scan, spanning external fixator, delayed definitive care to protect soft tissue and allow for soft tissue swelling to resolve. Treatment goals are restore articular surface, minimize soft tissue injury, establish length, avoid virus collapse. Treatment options are IM nail with limited ORIF and external fixation. Complication are mal or non-union, usually virus type, soft tissue complication, infection, and potential amputation. Coming to ankle fracture, it is the most common weight-bearing skeletal injury. Incidence of ankle fracture has doubled since 1960s. Highest incidence in elderly women, which is unimalleolar is like 68%, bimalleolar 25%, trimalleolar 7%, and open is 2%. History wise, we have to look for the mechanism of injury, time elapsed since the injury. Soft tissue injury, has the patient ambulated on the ankle? Patient's age, bone quality, associated injury, comorbidity like diabetes and smoking. Physical examination, we have to do for neurovascular examination. We have to note obvious deformity, pain over the medial or lateral malleoli, palpation of ligaments above the ankle, palpation of proximal fibula, lateral process of talus, base of fifth metatarsal. Examine the hind foot and forefoot. Radiographic study, we have to take the AP, lateral and mortise of view of ankle. If weight bearing is possible, if weight bearing is painful, we have to take the oblique view of foot. In anterior posterior view, we have to look for the tibiofibular overlap. If less than 10 mm is abnormal and implies syndesmotic injury. Tibiofibular clear space, if more than 5 mm, it is abnormal and it implies syndesmotic injury. Talar tilt, if 2 mm is more than 2 mm, it is considered abnormal. In Morty's view, foot is internally rotated and AP projection is performed. Abnormal findings are medial joint space widening, talocrural angle is less than 8 or 15 or more than 15 degrees compared to normal side. Tibia fibula overlap is less than 1 mm. In lateral view, posterior malleolar fracture, anterior posterior subluxation of the talus under the tibia, displacement, shortening of distal fibula and associated injuries. Ankle fracture classification system are Lodge and Hansen. It is based on the cadaveric study. First word refers to position of foot at time of injury, and second word refers to force applied to foot relative to tibia at time of injury. Classification system is Weber-Dennis. Type A is fibula fracture distal to mortise. Type B is fibula fracture at the level of mortise, and type C is fibula fracture proximal to mortise. Initial management is close reduction. Conscious sedation may be necessary. AO is splint, delayed fixation until soft tissue is stable, pain control, and monitor for possible compartment syndrome in high energy injuries. Indication for non-operative care is non-displaced fracture with intact syndesmosis and stable mortise. Less than 3 mm displacement of the isolated fibula fracture with no medial injury. Patient whose overall condition is unstable and would not tolerate an operative procedure. Management is weight bearing as tolerated in short leg cast or cam boot for 4 to 6 week and repeat X-ray at 7 to 10 days to rule out interval displacement. Indication for operative care are bimalleolar fracture, trimalleolar fracture, talar subluxation, articular impaction injury, syndesmotic injury. Beware the painful ankle with no ankle fracture but a widened mortise. Check knee film to rule out Mesoneal syndesmosis injury. Or if fibula leg screw, if possible, plus plate and confirm length and or rotation. In medial malleolus, open reduce 4-0 cancellous SPU versus tension bend. Posterior malleolus fixed if more than 30% of articular surface involves syndesmosis. Stays after fixation fixed with 3 to 4 cortex SPUs. Thank you.